and today we're just gonna have a chill stream. We don't really have any topics. I do have a guest here, and I've been trying to get him on the stream for a little bit, and I've got Psychopoly.
Yeah.
And so you've got all kinds of stuff. I know TikTok and YouTube are your big things, and then you have Instagram as well.
Yeah, I do Instagram. I don't do a whole lot with Instagram, but I do Facebook. As well.
All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you start your channel, and little things like that?
Oh man, how did I start my channel? I kind of started off my channel because I felt like there was kind of a void for like talking about like more obscure topics on TikTok specifically. And that's kind of where I grew, was on TikTok, like a lot of the, new gen people. But yeah, it was COVID, around COVID or right after COVID time. And I was like, well, I mean, there's a void here. And I think it would be super fun to, work online and not have to work for someone else my whole life. So I tried that out and it ended up working. Talked about a lot of like really weird stuff at first. Talked about like a lot of cryptids and that sort of thing.
Yeah. I remember watching your stuff when you started it. I think you had shared it in some of the Discords. And so for people watching this, Aaron and I have known each other for how long? 5?
Oh shoot, I don't know. Probably, well, it was 2 years into college, so like 2018 maybe.
2018, I think so. Yeah. And so we would do board games, all kinds of stuff.
Campus ministries,
friends, all that stuff. And so whenever you started your TikTok and your YouTube and all that stuff, I was like, whoa, this is cool. I think I discovered you. It was just on For You page.
No way.
I think so. And I was like, wait. And then I texted you and I was like, what? Oh, you're famous, man.
Yeah, guys, if you don't know, Brady used to dress up as Batman and drive around with a radio takeover device.
Yes.
And then if he pulled up next to you and you were on that station, then it would take over and play the Batman theme song.
Yep. Oh yeah. I was the Batman of the town.
Yeah. And wait, what was the vehicle you had? Was it a Saab?
It was a Ford Focus.
It was a Ford Focus.
It was a station wagon Ford Focus.
Yeah, the hatchback. Yeah. It was the Batmobile.
Oh my gosh. The trunk of it, I had a rope tying that thing shut because it was messed up. So occasionally the rope would come undone and it would like pop up.
Oh gosh, because it was a hatchback, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes. I think it was my grandparents, because my grandma was in a wheelchair, and that was a very convenient vehicle for them. My grandma passed, and then my grandpa wanted to part with it, but he really couldn't get anything for it, and so I ended up getting it. It didn't have AC. It had that thing with the trunk. Oh man, it was a good car. I liked it. I think I used it for delivery driving because I worked at Jimmy John's for a few years.
Oh yeah.
So it worked for that, except for in the heat of the summer.
Yeah, that'd be awful.
Yeah, I ended up getting a different car, but what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. Oh, going back to your like you being famous on TikTok. One of the times I was like, I think I was just scrolling and I saw an ad that because you were doing mobile ads or something.
Yeah, I was going hard with the mobile games for a while. I don't really do them as much anymore.
But I saw that and I was like, what?
Yeah,
I know him.
Those ads were fun to do for a while until they started like some companies would grab like your videos and they would breach contract and throw it on other platforms, and it's just like because they're from other companies or from other countries, there's nothing I could do. But it was still fun. It was a good moneymaker for a while.
That's good. And then I think I saw one and it had your wife and did did some of them, and I was like, oh my gosh, that looks so fun to do.
Clans?
Was it Clans? I think?
Yeah, was it the one where we were at Yosemite or Yellowstone? It was there was a geyser.
I think so, maybe.
Yeah, that was a
but
good one.
Yeah, I was just scrolling, and I think it was on my my Fine Editions account because I didn't follow anyone that I knew, and I was like, wait a minute, I know her. And then you showed up, and I was like, what's this? But,
yeah, I used to love doing Clash of Clans ads.
Yeah. Now I think don't they have WWE people doing it now?
Oh, I'm sure they do. And I'm sure they have a crazy budget for they're doing that.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway. So the main topic of my YouTube channel is Star Wars.
Yes.
And this is really because, I mean, these books that I got behind me, I used to post pictures of my book hauls on my regular personal Instagram. I'd always have the tag "a fine addition to my collection" from one of the greatest. Exactly, and I get a cold all the time too, so that fits it. My wife even like we went to see episode 3 in the theater.
Yeah.
And she's seen them before. We watched them whenever we started dating because I didn't know if she was a real one. And she loved them, of course. But we were watching episode 3 in the cinema, and she looked over at me and went, "That's you. You don't agree with this?" Because I cough a whole lot. Like I'll get in coughing fits, and it's just allergies. And I work at a school that's probably like so much mold.
Yeah. Oh god.
It was crazy. But yeah, he was just anytime he would like be on screen, he goes, "That's you."
Literally you. He's just like me for real.
Yeah, that's me. And then of course having the channel, General Grievous from maybe my favorite Star Wars TV show, the original Clone Wars. Have you seen that?
Oh yeah, the 2D one.
Oh yeah,
dude, they could not have made Mace Windu more powerful in that show.
Yeah,
he was so strong.
He was. He just like airbended the whole thing.
Yeah, the dude didn't he just lose his lightsaber at one point, and he just hand to hand.
I think like 30 seconds in, he loses his lightsaber, which is kind of odd because he's a Jedi, like second to Yoda.
Yeah, and he's known for.
Yeah, but he's known. That's kind of his vape head is kind of his thing. But oh man, like I mean, he shows you don't need a lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
But since we're talking Star Wars, what is your favorite Star Wars movie, and why is it Revenge of the Sith?
Ooh.
No, I'm just...
I'm gonna have to say Acolyte. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm gonna go with a really easy answer. I really like Empire Strikes Back. Not for many reasons other than I love the Hoth battle so much, and I feel like that's whenever we started to see them like really use their lightsabers like they're meant to be used. But also specifically because of the N64 game Shadows of the Empire, the greatest game of all time. This one right here.
Ooh, oh, that's cool.
I just got this the other day. I've been playing it.
Let's get that real big for you. How do I switch that?
Good condition. Yo. Yep.
That's beautiful. Is that why you got your tube TV?
That is why I got my. That is literally the reason why I got the tube TV is because of this game right here.
Nice.
But anyways, in the beginning of that game, there is a big battle. If people don't know, where I guess I was young and I didn't hardly know how to play the game, so it was like I was always stuck on that battle, and so it's nostalgic for me.
Oh, nice.
So Hoth battle, sick. The ATST, greatest design. That is the pinnacle of any sci-fi machine ATST, and then obviously the
The
AT-AT is great, but the ATST,
so you prefer the ATST, the two-legged one, than
yes.
ooh, one of my first, I'd say one of my first big Lego sets as a kid was the Ultimate Collector's ATST. And boy, that was beautiful. I hate that it's taken apart and locked forever in my abyss of Lego bins that I have in my corner. But yeah, that's something I'd like to fish out and rebuild.
Mm-hmm. What's your favorite Star Wars vehicle?
I really like. Okay, so if we're going movies,
Oh, it could be anything. It can be Legends. I don't care.
it's kind of hard because I have so many favorites. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, looking around my room, I've got all kinds of, I've got the TIE Advance, I've got the TIE Bomber. I really like the TIE variants.
TIE variants are cool.
The what is it? Is it the Interceptor?
The Interceptor.
Beautiful.
Which one's that?
That's the one where it kind of forks like that.
Yeah, I know what you're
like
talking about.
Darth Vader's, but forks.
Yes, yeah, like that.
That one's beautiful. There's a red one that the Royal Guards use.
I don't think I know about that one.
Oh, that's gorgeous. They made it a Lego set, and it's on my list to collect because technically it's EU. It showed up in new canon, but I think it did. It might have been
that thing is slick.
Yeah, but the Jedi Interceptor from Revenge of the Sith, the Jedi Starfighters from the beginning.
Oh yeah.
Those are good. I had a toy of that, and whenever I was a kid, I had the Obi-Wan one.
Yes, my brother and I probably had those same toys. Were they by Hasbro?
Yeah.
Do you have the DDS, the DDL? Do you have Han Solo's blaster right there?
Oh yeah.
Yo.
So this was a Ruby's toy one. It was the orange and white because you can't sell this good looking stuff and so I painted it.
That looks good. Your paint looks real good.
Thanks. Then I kept the orange in there just to make sure
Yeah.
people know.
Who did you say make those?
Ruby Toys, I think.
Ruby.
Ruby
Okay,
costume.
it's not Lego. Okay.
No.
That looks really good.
That'd be nice to have. But it was this.
Yes.
And then you press a button on the back, it pops up. There's just something about that. It definitely inspired the TIE Fighter.
Yeah.
Which these didn't have shields, and that's why the TIE Fighters don't have shields, because they were like, well, that's cheap. The Jedi did pretty good.
Yeah, that's what my brother and I had those too. I think we had Anakin's and maybe a variant of Mace Windu.
Oh, really? Did you the purple one?
Yeah, it was a slight purple one. Yeah.
Ooh. So this one here's Obi-Wan's whenever he goes to Utapau.
Okay.
So the blue one.
Is the Utapau one.
And then I have Anakin's when he goes to Mustafar. That one doesn't have the cockpit piece, which is sad. I found it at the thrift store.
Ah, cool.
But that one's a green one. But I do really like those. But another one that I really like, and it was actually on my. I'll just say this: all of the EU Lego sets are on my bucket list, but this one was especially one.
Oh,
the E-wing.
That's so cool.
And so this is from the Yoda Chronicles. It was a Lego TV show that they had, and this was in there.
That's awesome.
It's not the color of the E-wing from the books and the shows and stuff, but it's definitely up there.
That's baller.
My friend Luke, for my like a wedding gift, bachelor party gift, got me the Sith Fury Interceptor from the Old Republic video games.
Oh, cool.
I don't know if you know this guy, but Darth Malgus.
I can't see him. Darth Malgus.
He's from the Old Republic trailers.
Oh, I've definitely seen those videos. I'm not very familiar with the Old Republic though.
It's hard to get into because it's like the big chunk is the MMO.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few books. I think there's 5 books, 6 in that time period. But it's definitely really popular because of those trailers.
Mm-hmm.
But those are probably some of my favorite.
Those are sick. I really also enjoy just the classic Slave One. I think that's a really sick ship.
That's there too.
Nice.
What were you saying?
Oh, and also oh, you already said that, the Interceptor. Oh,
Yeah.
That's nice. No, that's nice. I got the small version of that.
Oh, nice.
The little bitty one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I've got that for the Falcon.
Oh, cool.
I've got a smaller one, which I'm working on a what is it? Tatooine mock, like my own creation type thing.
Oh, cool.
Over there. And I do want to have a hangar bay, but I don't know if I can fit I have the kind of bigger Falcon, not the super big one. That one's.
Yeah.
Can't justify that one.
So, dude, it's so expensive.
I did a like presentation type of thing for what I wanted for my birthday to my wife, and it was for
presentation. That's awesome.
It was for the Rivendell Lord of the Rings set.
That's a cool set.
Yeah, and so I've got maybe halfway or a quarter done. I don't know.
That's nice.
There's like 100 bags. It's crazy.
Whoa! How big is it? Like in your hands?
Maybe
that's really cool.
Maybe a bit more.
That's awesome. You know that bridge that's in Rivendell?
Yeah.
Me and Lindsay went to that bridge. It's in California.
Oh, that's cool.
Dude, it was cool, but it's just like it's right off a highway. Like you would not think that it's where it is, which is just like it's CGI'd into the movie.
That's true.
But it's kind of cool.
That's pretty neat.
It was cool. There was a lot of people there.
Going to I almost said Middle Earth. Going to New Zealand is on my bucket list.
Absolutely, yes.
But I know I'd probably only go there once, so I'd want to see everything.
Yeah, New Zealand, and probably hit Australia too if you can.
Yeah,
and probably hit Papua New Guinea, and also Indonesia.
A lot over there.
Yeah,
but I told my wife, when we were engaged, I was like, we should get married in the Shire, and she goes, that would be that'd be hard to get everyone there, you know.
Yeah, that would be destination weddings. Yeah.
But it was more of a joke. But she's not the biggest Lord of the Rings fan. But my presentation did sell her on the thing. And so I've got it. It's on our kitchen table.
Nice.
Or more our dining room table. Yes. But that's what we got there. What is your favorite faction?
Oh, my favorite faction? Oh, probably the Hutts.
Oh
no, I'm gonna have to say, I don't know. When you say faction, do you just mean like alien race or like unit?
So well, you said the Hutts are one. You've got the bounty hunters. You have the Jedi, Mandalorian, Sith.
Yeah,
an obscure one if you know any of those.
I don't have very many obscure ones, to be honest. I do really appreciate the bounty hunters just because I like the amount of detail that was put into the like, what was it, 3-second frame where they showed all the bounty hunters in, was that Empire Strikes Back? Yeah, and it showed like the guy who's bandaged all up. I'm sure you know who that is. And then
Gengar.
Yeah, of course you know it. And then is it IG-11?
88. 11's from the Mandalorian.
Oh yeah, IG-88. No, it's okay. Bosk, Bosk is so sick, and I really like what they did with Bosk in Battlefront 2.
Okay.
And that's a big reason why is I like Bosk, and I really like the idea of the Mandalorians and like Jango Fett and that sort of thing. Which doesn't necessarily make them. I know they're not necessarily bounty hunters, but
I was working on a lineup of those bounty hunters because there's a place in there's a place called Saga Toys, and so they have little bags of open ones, and there are a few dollars, maybe $5, and they had almost all of the bounty hunters.
nice.
They had Boba, they had all of them except for the IG-88.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Zuckuss, he was the bug-looking one.
Zuckuss.
But I ended up already having him because one of my friend's dads got me it for my birthday. Well, he specifically picked it out. It was a gift from their family, but he specifically picked it out, and he was like, "Can you tell me who this guy is from? You know, it's from Star Wars. Where is he from?" I was like, "Oh yeah, he's one of the bounty hunters from Empire Strikes Back," and he was like, "All right." But
yeah, I like that kind of thing. I mean, that's what makes Star Wars so great is that there's these tiny, short, like few second frame things, and they have like so much lore involved.
Where is it? I have it somewhere. Got to be somewhere. There's a book. Well, there's a series of books called the Tales series. They're kind of reusing that concept for the Disney Plus TV shows. Like it's called Tales of the Bounty Hunter. Is this one? And it basically is each of those bounty hunters have a story. So
that's cool.
I've covered some of them on some of my videos on my channel. I think only one of them actually, but it actually has an original backstory for Boba Fett that was later
cool.
like retconned. They basically had it where he had a code name that he used, and they worked it out that way. Because the thing with Legends is if there was ever one of those hiccups, like George Lucas wanted to change something, or whatever it was, they would work it into the story. And so I feel like nowadays, if they make contradict something, they're just like, we're not going to fix it. But they really put in effort back then. And so you might read some of it and be like, what? That doesn't line up here. But then later in a different story with Boba Fett, he explains, oh, hey, I used to go by the code name this, because of this, and this.
Really?
Yeah. And so it's like, whoa, that just adds another layer to it.
Yeah.
But
Boba
Fett. We've got someone in the chat.
Yo, we got someone in the chat.
We got two people.
Everybody say hashtag.
Hello there.
Hashtag General Kenobi.
Hashtag General Kenobi.
Everybody say hashtag I love ATST so much.
What does it stand for? Do you know?
ATST? I don't know. What does it stand for?
All-Terrain Scout Transport.
That's right. I have heard that, but my mind. You know.
That was something. I think it was from the Lego set. I was like, whoa.
You read on the Lego set?
Yeah, it had it on. There was
a
display piece that would be for it because it really wasn't for a 6-year-old. But I looked at it and read it, and I was like, that's cool. Have you ever printed a Star Wars book on Lulu? I think I have. So Lulu is a self-publishing website, and so you can put like the PDF for the book, and then you can put like a cover, and then they'll make the book for you.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I think I made one. So there's a lot of people in like that really like the Star Wars Legends, like Star Wars Legends YouTubers, and they'll there's some websites, and they'll post like unreleased Star Wars stories that like the author might have given away or something like that. And so you can use the Lulu to publish them. So it's like you have the book. And so I've got one of them. It was an unreleased story that was in between. I don't know if you know the comic Dark Empire, where Palpatine returns from the dead.
I've heard of it. I don't really know it necessarily.
So there was a book that was in between it, or it was kind of a short story, but it was never released until I think some fans got it from the author, and then they posted it, and so there were PDFs that you could go and do that. But
as you should.
Yeah,
you get information.
That Disney doesn't want to make more books and legends, so I'll just make my own.
Lame. You heard it here, Disney. Ramp it up.
But yeah, what you have a favorite clone trooper?
Do I have a favorite clone trooper?
Yeah.
Oh man, I am more ignorant than I should be. As far as the Clone Wars goes, I really like. I like the Bad Batch quite a bit. I feel like those are really the only ones I know necessarily. I really liked Crosshair because he was so much different than the rest of them. Like even his voice was completely different.
Nice.
And I just can't believe like they added the thing where he was just taking out civilians and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's surprising. And then, well, I was gonna go off topic and talk about Andor. But man, what'd you think of Andor? So great, right?
I really liked it.
Dude, it was so sick. I just can't even believe it. The opening scene to the second season, it was so beautiful. It was beautiful.
What the opening scene was?
It was the ship.
Oh yeah. That was fun.
Dude, that looked so everything about that scene just looked so good because all of it felt so real. It was like they were really in that ship and he was really trying to get out of that hangar and that sort of thing.
Yeah. So we have my co-host to the Comic Chatter podcast. He has come and joined us. Scott is here.
Hello. I didn't even shower first. I'm like Darth Snovia here. Going on here, all sweaty. What's going on, guys?
What's up? You got a Shure mic. You got the new Shure mic.
This one's about 2 years old, but
isn't that the newest model though?
It's probably a newer model, but I don't know if it's new.
Cool. So how you doing, Scott?
Pretty good. I just came from rec league softball. We got absolutely destroyed. We got one run, but we got beat like 15-1. I think we only got like 5 hits all game, something like that. It's pretty bad.
Man,
you need to play more Wii Sports.
Yeah,
we just got a really bad team. Like we lost all our good players. I used to be good, but I can't cover ground anymore in left field. Like I'm slow. I didn't used to be slow, but I am now. Age catches up, man.
So we've just been talking about some of our favorite bits of Star Wars. We talked about vehicles, favorite like faction, favorite movie, and did you finish Andor, Scott?
No, I'm still right where I was. I'm on episode 4.
Okay.
Unfortunately,
of the first season.
Of the second season.
Oh, okay.
So in the middle of the Mon Mothma wedding, the EDM party wedding.
Oh, the best part.
Yeah.
They're all like dancing like this. They're doing the goth. They're doing the goth dance.
I'll tell you, there must have been so much choreography in there for all of their formal dinners. Like they would have had some person like telling everybody what to do, and there must have been a lot of planning there. There's original music in there that they would have had to compose. I mean, a lot was put into that for sure.
It was better choreographed than any of the fight scenes in the sequel trilogy and the TV shows.
That is true.
That's uncalled for.
That is true.
So,
I don't know if
that's true.
I still think Rogue One is better than Andor, but Andor is at least creative. Like they put some thought into it rather than, wouldn't it be cool if
Yeah.
Obi-Wan fought Darth Vader again.
Yeah. That's literally so true. And also, well, there's one thing I noticed in Andor is that Cassian in Andor, his acting, you can tell that he has become much better of an actor throughout Andor, and then you get to the end of Andor, and then it jumps over to Rogue One, and it's like his acting kind of drops, and you're like, whoa, this guy's really like he's became a much better actor now.
I think he was pretty good in Rogue One, but he's definitely gotten better. That's for sure. And it almost it really shows in comparison to some of the other actors and actresses on the TV show. Like in comparison, it's obvious like this guy is a movie star, knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And although some of the other guys aren't terrible, they're definitely not as good, and it shows.
Yeah.
Did you guys like the thing with the guy and his mom, and then the Imperial officer lady?
She was like, "I'm his mom now."
Yeah, dude.
It's interesting. His mom looks nothing like him.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand that. I was like, was he adopted or something?
Oh my gosh.
Like,
You're
there's
right.
no resemblance at all.
Yeah, because she was like straight up Italian. He's like very English.
He's maybe his dad was probably really English.
He must have been. He must have been eating beans and toast.
Well, he was eating his what was it, like Trix
Blue
or
milk.
whatever?
He was eating Cheerios.
Cheerios and blue milk.
Oh yeah.
I
should have
remember
been eating C-3POs. That should have been what was in there.
I'm surprised they haven't done that out of all the marketing that they have.
That's actually pretty smart. I wouldn't have thought of that.
All right, here's a fun question. What is everyone's favorite piece of marketing, like comical piece of marketing that Star Wars has done? So like, you know,
I can't say the first thing that came to mind, but
I don't know if they've done much comical marketing.
Well, maybe not comical, but something that
ironically comical.
So, like, you have the Jar Jar Binks lollipop.
Oh man!
You have the C-3PO tape dispenser. Things like that.
I think like the Jar Jar Binks alarm clock is pretty good. He just says random phrases, you know. It's like it's pretty creepy. Someone was saying like they had it and it started malfunctioning because it was so old. Like I guess, you know, the batteries were old or whatever. They had batteries in there, like it wasn't haunted or running without batteries, but it was saying things not when the time was set. So you're supposed to set it and it's supposed to make sounds or something at specific times, and it was just like all over the place at random times at night. He would start talking. It was pretty crazy.
And squeeze me.
Yeah.
I don't know what the phrases were, but they were hilarious. Like you can look it up on YouTube.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Misa's big doo-doo now.
Have you seen the the piggy bank one? You like put it in and he dances.
Yeah, the dancing one. I had the Darth Maul one, the Darth Maul bank, but it didn't make any sounds or anything. It was just a normal piggy bank.
Oh, gotcha.
I can't think of a single piece of Star Wars marketing other than I don't know. I mean, the Burger King, Star Wars Burger King crowns. I'll go with that.
Ooh, okay.
My brother has one. It's really cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
I remember when Revenge of the Sith was, you know, they had not the Happy Meal, but the kids meal toys. I always begged my parents, can we get the kids meal toys? I want the Darth Vader, the watches too.
Yeah.
Scott, did you get any of those, or was that? My little brother did. I was probably in high school by that point, so I didn't go to Burger King much. But I remember the Episode 1 toys, which I think were better. Or was it it was a special edition. I remember those in '97, and there was like a Cloud City balancing magnet thing that was pretty cool.
Okay.
Pretty realistic. Like it was a perfect rendering of Cloud City, and it just balanced on its little peg there with a magnet that held it up. And I forget what else there was. There was like starfighters. I mean, pretty similar to the episode 3 Burger King stuff. But I felt like with the episode 3, the quality went down just a little bit.
Okay. Nice. What is everyone's least favorite Star Wars movie?
The Clone Wars.
Ooh. Clone Wars movie. Is that worse than the sequel trilogy?
That's a good question.
It's got to be one of the sequel trilogy movies for me.
It's probably Rise of Skywalker, but Clone Wars isn't that much further back. I think it's not that much better.
That's true.
I just love the separatists in the first few movies. I just love every time they talked. I was so happy.
Let's see.
I like whenever they said, "This is getting out of hand. Now there are 2 of them." That's my favorite.
I mean,
lines.
The Laura Dern character with colored hair being what was she, a vice admiral in the
Vice Admiral
Rebellion? Is it Resistance? Yeah, I guess it's Resistance. It didn't seem like. I guess they gave her a backstory in the novel that she was one of Leia's friends, and that's how she got that military position. Mm-hmm. I guess she had some work with the Alliance, like she knew how to run a fleet or whatever, but
she knew how to suicide bomb or suicide.
She had no managerial skills, like at all. It was like, why do you put this lady in the movie with colored hair? It's so out of place.
She seemed more like a paleobotanist to me.
Yeah, she's like a art teacher, elementary school art teacher.
Like she just left a park full of dinosaurs or something.
There's a couple out of place characters in Andor too. It's like if you look at the very first episode of season 2, when they're in the TIE fighter hangar,
yes,
Cassian's undercover. He's trying to steal this TIE Advanced. Some of the mechanics are like just overweight, and they don't look like they meet the fitness regimen of what the Empire would have.
Bro, the Empire would not put up with that.
No, not at all. So I don't know if they're just trying to put a variety of characters and races and genders in the film or what, but
I'm sure that's what they're doing. That's like in into what's the second Spider-Verse movie?
Across the Spider-Verse.
Bro, it made me so upset. They had all the overweight Spider-Mans. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is Spider-Man. He is an acrobat. He has to be in good shape. So, this doesn't make any sense.
So, Tyrannosaurus Spider-Man didn't work?
No, that was fine.
Spider-Man?
that made sense. Tyrannosaurus Spider-Man made sense.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah, I like Jurassic Park.
1 second, guys. I'll be right back.
Do you like any of the Jurassic Park sequels? Any of the Jurassic World movies?
I need to watch them again. I didn't hate them. The third one was really bad. The third one made me just ashamed. But I need to watch them again. I recently read the original Jurassic Park novel. I don't know if you've read that piece of media, that piece of literature.
I haven't read it, no, but I've heard it was good.
It's good. It's really it's surprising how good it is. Michael Crichton, and then he also wrote the sequel, which is The Lost World, and that's got a much different storyline than the rest of them too.
Right, I've heard it's much better. Actually, it's more in depth, and I guess it didn't translate completely that well to film, or they decided to do something different for whatever reason. But I felt like with the sequels, they're just not memorable. Like I remember the first one for sure. First one was very memorable, and then they tried to kind of recreate a similar film on the sequels, and it just doesn't work. It's kind of like the Star Wars sequels.
Yeah. Well, I just always feel so let down whenever I'm like, oh, the next part of Star Wars media, and then it's like, you know what? Boba Fett is a really good guy. I'm like, well, I don't really know why he would be, but okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was confusing too with Boba Fett trying to be a good guy in the was it the Book of Boba Fett?
Yeah.
He shows up in or the Mandalorian, I forget. Yeah, I guess it's definitely the Book of Boba Fett, but I never thought of him as a heroic character. I guess he is a little bit. Have you read the EU comic books?
No, I have not.
So some of them take him as the main character, basically, and they're written from his perspective, and they're a little bit more relatable. But he's doing some morally gray or morally sort of bad acts in some of those comics.
Mhm.
You know, it's like, yes, he's going after the empire that you know, are using these world devastators, causing havoc on all these planets, and he's taken up a bounty from one of the races of one of these planets that's getting pillaged by the world devastators. So I guess that is sort of a heroic act, but
Yeah, isn't that where this? Did he get the Slave One in that comic?
no, he's
Okay.
had the Slave One. I think he actually gets the Slave One, or Django does, from the Bounty Hunter video game.
Oh,
He steals it from the Uvu
Django.
4 prison. Yeah.
What are we talking about?
We were talking about Boba Fett and his appearances in some of the EU comics, and he was asking the origin of how Slave One, how we get Slave One. Obviously, it's Django's ship before it's his ship, but
Now, do they ever explain, because he loses it in the Clone Wars, do they ever explain how he gets it back?
I forget. I know. I think it's like in the junior novels that Aura Singh has it for a while, and then he steals it back. Is that right? It sounds familiar. It's been a while since
I'm sorry, I was reading this comment. I'll pull it up in a second. What did you say?
Brady's favorite ship is Sweet Home Alabama. Really?
No, for this one right here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Aaron,
Uh-huh.
to explain some context, that show I was telling you about going through all of the Star Wars like expanded universe material from start to finish, that podcast, they didn't know that Luke and Leia were siblings, and so just like in Empire Strikes Back, Luke and Leia make out a few times. There's a few alluding to different things. And so, yeah. And so Scott has made it his life mission to document every moment.
I've already lost count. I mean, we were tracking a couple things for the EUA back machine on Alex's channel. Check that out if you're not subscribed to Magneto Alex. But we were tracking the number of times Luke crashes a ship onto a planet, which is like in every comic. Like for the longest time, because we're covering mainly comics in the early point, because we're going chronological like release order. So like all the comics in the late 70s, it's like Luke and Leia on a mission. Luke crashes this ship at some point. It's like rinse and repeat using the same plot. So we were tracking that. I lost count of that. And then we were also tracking how many times Luke and Leia kiss, not kiss on the cheek, but like actually, you know, making out sort of thing. So yeah, it's quite a few times. I think I lost count of that as well. It's not as frequent, but still way too frequent.
Yeah. So they were definitely team Luke and Leia at the time. Little did they know. So it was funny because, yeah. I also keep that as my profile along with a couple other ones of them kissing, just to make everyone uncomfortable on the chat there.
Shoot. Yeah, I was Team Edward, but I can understand being Team Luke and Leia if you didn't know the context.
A lot of people, whenever I show them the originals in order, will say that they're Team Luke and Leia.
No.
Really?
Well, I can see that. I can see that, knowing no context.
Like if you just watched A New Hope and Empire, like,
because Han Solo was a pretty bad. Seemed like he may be a bad guy.
Yeah.
He may turn out to be, which he was not the greatest, but
yeah.
I think one of the weakest points of Return of the Jedi is when George Lucas decided to shoehorn that they were siblings in, because I think it is shoehorned. I think he didn't know that initially, obviously, because he wouldn't have had them kissing in the second movie. But
apparently, in the second movie, there were supposed to be more intense, lovey scenes.
I think once it became evident that Leia was going to end up with Han, which you could basically tell from the second film, they had to do something to sort of write that away so that Luke didn't have a tragic ending. That he, it ends the trilogy alone, basically. So
it's weird because it was very shoehorned in Return of the Jedi, because she goes, somehow I knew, and people like to edit that clip with her like passionately laying one on him on Hoth.
Yeah, and to make things even worse, her acting when she says that, I've always thought, why must you confront him? Her acting is horrible in that. Like it's really bad. I didn't like it at all.
Yeah, I get that. I've never thought that Luke's acting has been particularly impressive either.
At least he's not overly dramatic. I'd rather him kind of be stone-faced and kind of just go through the motions than try to be dramatic when it's kind of fake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coke probably gets you a little amped up for scenes too.
That's true. You can see her fingernail in one of the scenes.
Is that in Return of the Jedi?
Yeah. When they're on the shuttle going down to Endor, she puts her hand on Han's shoulder. You can just see the massive fingernail.
It is very noticeable. It's crazy.
I've never noticed that before. I'll have to check that out.
I actually talked about this in, I think, one of my last videos, but the fact that they killed off Leia by having her have a Force overdose was a little rough. Like,
wait, what?
Yeah. So
in a comic?
No, in episode 9.
What?
Yeah.
I need to watch those again. They said that?
No. Well, okay. Oh. So, in episode 8, Luke dies because he uses the Force too much to project himself to another planet. Okay, so they established that you can OD while using the Force. So Mark Hamill's talking on a talk show, and they ask him, like, hey, didn't know that was a thing. And then he goes, yeah, you would think like use the Force in moderation. Like, so
everybody knows there's Force overdose. Everybody knew that.
Well, you just run out and you're tired, like the video game. You're just like, doesn't work.
That's why Grogu's always just right on the verge of ODing every time he uses and that's why he drops.
Yeah.
They give him some Narcan and he gets back to work.
But like to straight up kill yourself off, I get it. I don't see projecting yourself somewhere else as that powerful. Like maybe holding a planet still or pulling down a ship or something, maybe. But just going, oh, I'm over there, but really I'm over here.
Yeah.
But
Star Killer, he would have. Yeah. That dude would have just.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Palpatine outlives Luke. Just using every method possible to keep him alive as long as possible.
And they don't even. It would have made it a little interesting if Palpatine was like, I was waiting for Skywalker to die, and then he's like, I'm back, and that's why I've been hiding, because Luke Skywalker would kill me. Now he's dead. But so many things would make that movie better. But Leia then later, instead of getting into a ship and flying to her son, just like Luke could have done, because Luke could have gotten into his X-Wing, flown to Kylo Ren and said, hey, bud, like, let me mess you up while they run away. Then I'll die anyway. Leia could have, because Leia, like gets a headache, falls over in episode 9, and then she's like sleeping, but then she projects herself to Kylo Ren as Han Solo, and gives him his redemption or whatever. And then after he turns to the light side, you see her like disappear and die. And so she exhausted herself. That's how it happened in episode 9.
Gotta watch him again. That's crazy.
That movie is wild. I showed that to my friend. I think it was last summer. I was like, "Hey, have you seen this? Just wait." Literally every time they like something will happen, and he goes, "Oh no, they didn't just," and then the character will explain exactly what happened. And he goes, he's like, "They're not going to do this," and then they explain, "Yes, it's because of this," and he's just like, "What the crap is this?"
Why would they explain that?
Right.
Well,
here's a question for you guys. Do you guys think in the sequel movies that they should have killed off the main characters, or that the characters should have been just like in the background, or maybe showed up and then, oh, gotta run over here?
I mean, obviously. Sorry, you go ahead.
I don't even think that they should have been in the sequel movies at all. Like,
Right.
Mark Hamill's acting is no good. Leia, not really. Harrison Ford didn't even want to be there. Pretty obvious. So I just think if you're not going to use them well, if you don't have a good story for them, don't use them at all. But going back real quick on what you were saying about Leia dying, I mean, there must be some genetic illness that runs in the family, because Padme died from a broken heart or whatever out of nowhere. And
yeah, that's true.
Leia kind of dies in similar fashion. So
that's actually a good point.
So did Luke, kind of, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it was just bad writing personally, but it's funny how that.
So you're saying bad writing killed them.
In all three instances. Yeah.
Adam Driver was on SNL, I think, and he was like, "Oh yeah, people trash me all the time. They're like, you're the guy that killed Han Solo," and he looks directly in the camera and says, "Wokeness killed Han Solo."
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, okay.
That's so funny. I will say, I don't think they should have been the main characters in the sequels by any means. I don't even think they should have had a major role. Like, I don't think they should have had a deciding event that they were a part of, even in the sequels, if they were going to do them. I don't know. It'd be cool to see them as like a cameo, but obviously they could not have been the main characters because they were all spent at this point. But it would have been cool to get a really good original story rather than trying to feed off of pure nostalgia and having no idea where they were going the entire time. That's what it seemed like to me.
I think they should have had kind of the role that like Yoda and like Mace Windu, like kind of those for the prequels.
Yeah.
Kind of there at the side while the main characters go through that. Shoot, they could have been the main characters. I mean, Cobra Kai shows the importance of, how you can have these legacy characters being, main characters, but also having the new generation carry that on. But I don't know.
I think the quote unquote new generation that they were trying to establish there with Poe, Rey, Finn, and get them to sort of all be friends like they were intending to, it doesn't really work because they don't have enough screen time together. Because Rey is mainly with Han Solo most of the first film, and there's just not enough time. Like, by the time the episode 9 rolls around and they're trying to say, yeah, they're all established, like, I don't even think Poe meets Rey yet. I guess maybe they do in the comics for the new expanded universe or whatever, but it just doesn't work out. It's not believable.
In the novelization of The Force Awakens, at the end of it, it's shoehorned in, "Oh, hey, I'm Rey," and he's like, "Oh, I'm Poe. Nice to meet you." And then the book ends. And then they do that again in episode 8. And I'm like, so they met first time twice. Don't care to explain that.
And if I'm remembering right, it was in one of the new EU books or comics, I think, as well.
Did they do it again?
I think there's like a Poe Dameron comic series that it's also in there, if I'm remembering correctly. I could be wrong, but
gotcha. Which, I mean, they've kind of established now that, and it's kind of how it was a little bit, like the hierarchy of what is canon. Movies trump, then TV shows, then animated, then books and comics. But I mean, the EU had it a little bit easier because they weren't pumping out so much stuff.
Well, they didn't try to overdo it. They laid the groundwork pretty conservatively. Like they had all these eras, like when they released the Bantam novels, like they knew how many novels they were going to do. They spread them far enough apart so they didn't really overlap each other. I mean, eventually they did because there was, a second round with Del Rey, but they kind of mapped out, okay, this happens 7 years after Endor, this happens 10 years, 15 years. So they left themselves some room to work with, some space, and I think that's why it's much better. With the new canon, it's not really laid out very well. It's just whatever they decide to do on a whim.
Yeah. All right. So my next question is, what is everyone's favorite TV show? So this could be old canon, new canon, whatever. I'll let you, Aaron, go if you want to go first.
Skip me for now. Let me think about it.
Scott.
So I like Droids. I know people probably think that's a kiddie show, but I just think it's done well. The characters are interesting. It's short, it's only 13 episodes, but Anthony Daniels is hilarious. I think the artwork, the animation's pretty good. I like the villains. I like the heroes. The White Witch arc that starts out the first couple episodes ties into the Rebel Alliance, and that I really like it. You could say like the Clone Wars micro series is really good, but I'm gonna go with Droids.
All right. You got an answer yet, Aaron?
I do. I'm gonna have to say Andor.
Okay.
Just because it was so cohesive. The story was told correctly. I mean, it was everything that Disney should be doing. They should be making content for people that like Star Wars, and I feel like that's what they did with Andor.
Nice.
But I also really liked, what was it? The one, I'm gonna say something really stupid. The animated one that was, here it is, Tales of the Jedi.
Okay.
I thought Tales of the Jedi went so hard. Showing Psychopoly.
I don't know if that one had Psychopoly. Well, Count Dooku.
I'm sorry, Count Dooku. Yes.
Yeah, I think so. I enjoyed that show. I didn't like the Ahsoka stuff. I thought that the Dooku stuff would have been 100 times better if instead of Yaddle he killed, it was Psychopoly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But they had already kind of butchered his story a little bit in the Clone Wars, like the 3D one, where they kind of tied their hands there. But they really should have just elaborated on that and added some stuff from Legends, because he ends up killing Sifo-Dyas, and I think he tries to take his blood and gives it to Grievous. And then he also, the first lightsaber that Grievous gets is from Sifo-Dyas. So that's his first lightsaber. So I wish that they kind of not only did a fall of Dooku, but also maybe a little bit of a rise of Grievous.
Yeah. That would go so hard if they did that story for him.
But my favorite is probably the 2002 Clone Wars.
Respect.
Droids is up there too. because I grew up on both of those. Like that was the Star Wars that I could get to, because I think I had a few of the story arcs from Droids on DVD, and then I rented from my library the 2D Clone Wars. General Grievous, so cool. But yeah,
I'd never even heard of Droids. I'd never heard of this until just now.
So it has the voice actor of C-3PO. And it's funny because in the opening credits, it has Anthony Daniels as C-3PO. Then I think it says R2 as himself. And so it's kind of...
Well, he just beeps. I mean, anybody can...
Anybody can make a beeping noise.
Yeah.
But so the plot of Droids is after Revenge of the Sith, the droids get separated from Captain Antilles, like Bail Organa's ship there. And then they're caught up in all kinds of adventures that they have. They get passed master to master. They do about 4 episode arcs.
Yeah, and then the Great Heap, which is kind of a holiday special, I guess you would say. But I think it's before they were actually droids for Captain Antilles.
Well, it was, but I think a little bit after the Droids show, they end up going back to the Tantive 4, and that's why they're there.
Oh, I guess you're right.
Because he's given Bail Organa gives them to Captain Antilles,
right?
Then he wipes his memory, and then it probably explains why C-3PO was all like in the show he's confused half the time, but that's also kind of C-3PO.
Yeah.
But it might explain it a little bit more, getting over that memory wipe. I could 100% see C-3PO being confused and oops, we got separated.
I don't know. I think he's pretty true to character.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this was written at a time way before episode 3, before they knew what was going on there. There's homages throughout Droids to the prequels, with General Grievous's wheel bike is in there, and the moons of Bogdan. There's a couple other things in there as well, so it's fun.
Another show, I'd say honorable mention would be the Ewoks show.
Mm-hmm.
There's some wild lore in there, especially Aaron, have you heard of Supernatural Encounters? I think I might have told you about it. So it's this it's a released, unreleased book. So it was this author, he was commissioned to write a story for the official Expanded Universe Legends canon. But then Disney took over. We're like, oh no, we're not going to publish anymore there. So big sad. Anyway, he ended up finishing it and then publishing it on his website with permission from Lucasfilm. And he goes through all of the the deep lore, like Celestials, the monsters, the Sith gods, and kind of stuff there. And so the Ewoks show follows Wicket the Ewok, and it's kind of a fun, bear show or whatever. And then they got caught off. Oh shoot, there's this witch. And then if you read about it in the article that he wrote, it's more of a novel, the expanded version, 1,000 pages. But it's some deep stuff, but it's just a fun cartoon. I liked it. I showed it. That's how I got my stepdaughter into Star Wars, was that
really
show. Yeah,
I've never even heard of it. This is crazy.
It's fun.
It's your typical children's cartoon adapted with a Star Wars twist, I think.
Yeah.
The Ewoks are a little bit more relatable, a little bit more human-like than they are in other media, but it works out. It's a typical kids cartoon.
That's cool. I'll have to watch it.
Yeah, it's on Disney Plus, I think.
Mm-hmm.
What is your guys' favorite Star Wars monster?
Have to think about that.
The Rancor. I love the Rancor.
Rancor goes hard.
Rancor is pretty good. Tatooine has a lot of cool creatures. Sarlacc. You got the Crate Dragon.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too.
Banthas.
Yeah, I guess.
I
Guess it
love
counts.
the Sarlacc.
Ooh.
Everything about the Sarlacc makes me happy. I just think it's such an original idea. Maybe they ripped it off from somewhere else, but I feel like I never heard of anything like that. And I also like the bit of lore that they add about how it's a hive mind once people fall into it, and so it's borderline. It possibly could be borderline force sensitive, and maybe that's why Boba Fett. There was like a theory that Boba Fett wasn't at his tip-top shape and was being affected by the Sarlacc because it was trying to mind control him, and that's maybe why he got taken down so easy above the Sarlacc pit. Just a funny little theory, but
I thought his jetpack got messed up.
That did happen too.
They even made it more noticeable, I think, in the latest special edition, the super special edition, the one that's on Disney Plus now, where it's like smoking and there's sparks coming out of it before he tries to take off.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah,
I did not know that.
That wasn't in the original movie at all.
Really?
Or are you thinking of when Django tries to take off? Because I think they had it or they had that in the original episode 2. Whenever the Reek, I think it is, runs him over.
Maybe for some reason
to fly off.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. So I may be misremembering and think it's that, but I also think I thought I saw the latest Return of the Jedi and it had his jetpack sparking where I didn't notice that before.
Yeah. But
Scott,
go ahead.
Sorry. You go ahead. I'm about to change topic.
I don't remember what I was going to say. But
Scott, have you played Star Wars Shadows of the Empire for the Nintendo 64?
Oh yeah. I played it when it came out.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome. That's really nice. That's
the reason everybody, at least my friends, got a Nintendo 64.
Yes.
That was sort of the sequel to the Super Star Wars, Super Empire Strikes Back, Super Return of the Jedi. So those were on Super Nintendo. And then when N64 came out, that was one of the premier games, is Shadows of the Empire.
What is the game that comes after Shadows of the Empire? Isn't there a game very similar? What's that called?
Rogue Squadron.
Yes.
So there's Rogue Squadron. Yeah, and then there's an Episode 1 Racer was also for N64. Mm-hmm. And Battle for Naboo, which was similar to Rogue Squadron. It had the same engine, but with the Episode 1 twist.
Mm-hmm. I heard someone who kept going on about this game that was very similar to Shadows of the Empire, except it was way better in every way, and it came after.
So there is Dark Forces. That was on computer, and then there was another game I think that used the same engine called Force Commander.
Yeah.
Which it's not really talked about that much. It doesn't have that great a plot, but I remember that was a PC game that came around that time.
Dark Forces is where Kyle Katarn he steals the Death Star plans, or he's one of the guys that steal one of the Death Star plans.
So that was like Doom for Star Wars, but then it had a sequel, Jedi Knight, which I think they combined some of the technology from Shadows of the Empire for that one.
There was live action cutscenes too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. What?
Yeah, it is kind of cool because you'll watch it and it'll feel like a kind of like a fan film, but they can play Star Wars music and but the special effects are from the 90s. Yeah, I don't know if you know about Inquisitor Jarek. He's an Inquisitor. He's kind of the nemesis to Kyle Katarn, because he becomes a Jedi, and so instead of, they can't use Darth Vader. And I think isn't Jedi Knights after? That's after Return of the Jedi, right?
4 years after Return of the Jedi, yeah.
And so they that might be that, or in the like the game, the tabletop games, or the role-playing games, they introduced the Inquisitors, so you wouldn't fight Darth Vader all the time. And that's where they got it for the new stuff. They got it from the EU, from Legends. But yeah.
Right. So there's a backstory to where Kyle Katarn's father was, I don't know if he was a full-on Jedi, but he was like Force sensitive, and Jarek went after him, killed him. And then Kyle Katarn basically gets revenge by going after each of Jarek's minions one by one, and that's all the levels of Jedi Knight. Is you go after Yun, which is the first one, and then there's a couple of aliens. There's Saris. There's the Twi'lek guy, which the live acting for all those characters was, I loved it. It was great. I mean, the Jarek character was great. The Kyle Katarn character, I always thought he was kind of like Ewan McGregor a little bit. Had the same sort of mannerisms, same way of talking, very similar.
Let's see if I can pull this up.
Oh no.
It's been a while since I saw these cutscenes, but they're really good. I mean, they're aged, right? I guess they don't do cutscenes like these anymore with the CGI backgrounds. It looks kind of cheap, but the acting was spot on.
Let's hope I don't get flagged. Oh, Brendan's here.
This is discussion and analysis, so you should be able to review this on YouTube.
All right, we have Brendan, aka Quinlan Vos.
Hey, Brendan.
Brendan, this is my friend Aaron.
Nice to meet you, Aaron. How's it going?
My friend's naming his son Brennan.
Oh, that's cool.
And
that's a pretty good name.
We make jokes about him naming his son Brundon.
Brennan may or may not get called that.
Brendan.
I answer to a bit of everything.
Just don't call you late for dinner.
Just don't call me Shirley.
I'd hate to miss dinner. Airplanes is such a good movie.
All right, so
why hesitate? Strike me down.
Are we watching Dark Forces 2 cutscenes?
Yes.
First, I need something from you.
Jarek and Q-Ron, huh?
Yep.
The iconic scene.
Let me skip to.
It's 30 minutes long?
Well, yeah. Let me
What?
get to it.
It's a 30-minute. Oh, it's all the cutscenes. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So here is Kyle Katarn, and then his pilot, called Jan Ors. Funny, it's like Jen Urso. Basically, these are like the originals of Rogue One. So Rogue One kind of took Kyle Katarn, made him not a Jedi, and then got Jan Ors.
They're the cooler Rogue One.
Yeah.
Yep. A strong woman of color.
Yes.
They've already gotten their hooks into this place. I've got to get to the top of that tower.
You're just going to get into more trouble.
That's when you bail me out.
But like here.
It's not enough.
Looks like I can't bail you out of trouble this time.
Strike her down and realize your true destiny.
What was the Twi'lek's name again? Was it Bok Seka or something like that?
It's Bok to Crude.
He was so weird.
Did he do it?
Can we go look at Maw real quick? Where's the scene with Maw? Doesn't he get his legs chopped off at the beginning?
A pity. Then you will die.
Speaking about the fight at the beginning, so I always had a theory about this, how Box kind of messed up in the head. I thought he got one of his brain tails like chopped off, or he got like partially lobotomied by Ron at the beginning in the lightsaber fight, and that's why he was messed up for the rest of the cutscenes. Did you guys catch that at all, or am I absolutely crazy?
I didn't notice the lobotomy thing. Did he use lightning? Did he use laser fingers?
Yes. I don't know. Maybe.
There's a name for his power. Do you remember what it is, Scott? What Jarek uses? What's it called? It's called like Psycho something.
Is this what you wanted to see?
Force
Yes,
something.
I want to see this. I like where this is going.
I think
Doesn't
it's
doesn't he like lop off Ma's legs in the start of this too?
yeah,
Like,
he does.
chopping him
But
in half.
I thought Bach got like part of his head
That
sliced
sounds
off.
familiar.
Whoa, was there a scene where he actually got lobotomized?
There.
Yeah, there's a
Oh,
Did I miss it?
Yeah, I think it was the very first one. I think Bach went down. He was like,
oh
the
yeah,
first-
there's the twins, the Gamorrean Dark Jedi there, and the mutated monkey lizard.
yeah, they're Sith spawn.
oh, he's got a saber too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Of course he does.
they all do.
I guess not. I like how he hesitates.
That sounds familiar.
He
You
like
know, with how
hesitates
many-
to turn his lightsaber on. He's like, I can't turn it on.
With how many adaptations of this game there were, maybe it's in there somewhere. Like maybe the audio drama mentions him getting a Leiku like lopped off.
Probably,
Or-
because there's
Yeah.
a novella by Dark Horse Comics. There's
Mhm.
pictures in there, but it has prose text, and then there's audio drama that's slightly different, and then there's the video game.
This is the compilation of those.
Oh, nice. I need to get mine printed. Someone was asking about Lulu printing in the chat. I'm kind of jealous or envious of that Star Wars book collection you got there, Brendan.
So speaking of Lulu printings, I tried to print some of the older files not too long ago, and I find that either Lulu changed their upload criteria, Amazon as well, to where the files can't be printed now, like in the older formats. Most of them, not all of them. Like some of them still upload, but the ones I wanted in particular were rejected based on formatting.
I heard that they were changing those over from PDFs into a different file type. I heard that recently because I just got a new link recently with some of the files, and they're in a different format than they were.
Okay.
So maybe those are the ones that work.
So maybe
they
they changed it over because Amazon and Lulu changed their criteria.
Now, I've got a question for everybody. Since we're talking about it, what is everyone's favorite video game? I can go first. The first Star Wars video game, I think. I think it was the first one. Might have been. Lego Star Wars is up there for me, the complete saga. So I'll get that one out of the way. But The Force Unleashed for the Wii.
Oh, yes.
I've heard that's the best version. I've not played it on any other one. But I heard there were some issues with the original one that people didn't like. I know that Force Unleashed 2 was so much better on the Wii from what people have said. I guess the gameplay was a bit better, but that one was the first one that I really got into, that dived me into the EU, to Legends, to just all kinds of stuff. Was just that, new piece of Star Wars that was part of the lore that I was just like that one's sticking to me.
I think each of the platforms had some exclusive content, but I think the Wii version of The Force Unleashed had the most exclusive content.
Mhm.
And there were also some. You remember there was like a Mortal Kombat style versus game that
Mara
Yeah.
Jade was in there.
you could play as Mara Jade and some other people
Yeah.
that aren't typically
Was
in the game.
Katarn in there?
No.
I think
I think
there were some weird people that weren't
Yeah.
that weren't in the game that you
That's
could
right.
play as.
So you had the only ones that were EU that weren't from the game was Mara,
There was another
Asajj
one.
Ventress, like the,
Isla was in there. Isla Sakura, who's technically
Yes,
an
she
EU
was,
original
yeah.
character.
she was in there. I think that might be it for the Wii version.
Mm.
Which those, funny enough, I think those two characters can be unlocked in Lego Star Wars, the Complete Saga, in the buildable character.
They
Mara
have Mara
Jade.
Jade.
I think so. Or they have the pieces to build her, but it's just like a little fun thing.
Hmm.
It would be interesting to see all the people that have voiced Mara Jade throughout all the games, because I bet the list is a lot longer than you might think.
The Force
Like, she's-
Unleashed one probably
Well,
has a different voice actress, right?
Yeah,
She has a
I'm
couple
sure
things.
there were a lot of like one-off people that did the voices, but like she's in the Galactic Battlegrounds. She's in a lot of stuff that people forget about.
Right.
You know who Mara Jade is, Aaron?
Yeah,
Okay.
I know of her from Thrawn Trilogy, but I am extremely ignorant compared to you guys.
So I'll say my favorite game, which is different than the best game, like
Yes.
objectively. But my favorite is Star Wars Rebellion. I thought that game is fantastic. I know Star Wars, I guess there's an updated version called Empire at War. It's basically the same thing. But I thought when that game came out, it had all the planets and the maps and like all the starships. It had a lot of EU content. It was so balanced. It was fun. The gameplay was different every time. You could play online through like AOL dial-up. You know, I remember playing against my friends on that game. It was great because there was an element of secrecy there. The Rebel base was somewhere different every game. You could like move it around, and you could keep playing. Like after you captured Coruscant, there were all these
I'll be right
scenarios. Like the winning, how you won was you had to capture the Emperor, Vader, and capture Coruscant if you're the rebels. And then if you're the Empire, you have to destroy the rebel base, capture Mon Mothma, and someone else. Was it Luke? I think it was Luke. But to get all three, like, took forever. So you could get like one or two, and then still come back. You know, it was just great. I love that game so much.
Nice.
Am I allowed to pick 3 favorites?
I kind of picked 3. Let's just go for it.
KOTOR 2. Do I want to pick KOTOR 2? Do I want to just pick KOTOR? If I had to choose, maybe KOTOR, but I'll go with my gut. KOTOR 2, Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy is probably my favorite of all of them. And Force Unleashed on the Wii was my first video game ever. So that's probably third. But I really love the Dark Forces remaster they did recently on the Switch. That game was so good, so much fun. I played it originally on my grandfather's PC that he wrote sermons on in the early 2000s, and I booted it up and it still worked in like 2021. So over COVID, I just played Dark Forces like the whole time, and it was so fun. That game to me is timeless.
How come you didn't stream this?
I thought about it, but then I realized that I would have had to set up my phone on a tripod to film the screen because my grandfather's computer didn't have internet access because the like virus stuff wasn't installed, and we didn't have the like Ethernet cables or whatever. So it was like ancient tech to me.
Gotcha.
It's like Indiana Jones exploring some ancient tech.
What is that Nerf gun behind you? Is that a Nerf gun?
That one?
That's a bug salt gun, isn't it?
That's Fortnite Scar.
Oh.
Have y'all seen those like bug salt guns that are like yellow and orange?
Yeah, those are awesome.
With? Yeah.
Because I have got this right next to my nose.
Scott, you have some weapon? You strapped?
Yep.
Not that I can show on YouTube. Not that I should show up on this.
Oh, I got a hold on.
I also have a bunch of lightsabers. I just saw that and I was like, wait a minute. I've got one. Aaron, what's your favorite Star Wars game? Did you answer? Yeah.
No, I would say this is the one that I played as a child, and it gave me the nostalgia to really love Empire Strikes Back so much, and the N64. Even though it plays like dog water, to be honest, it's so hard to even do anything on there.
You take that back,
dude. It's so hard. Trying to use those controls is like, there's no reason any game should be that difficult. It's like they just didn't have it dialed in. I was playing it the other day and I was like,
Isn't that just the N64?
Isn't
that
just
the bad controller?
No, Super Mario 64 plays like good.
I think the problem is the joystick on the N64 controller wears out over time. So like it's impossible to get a new one now, right? They don't like make retro controllers. Maybe they do. I don't know. But
they make
if
you're
like
a lot of aftermarket ones.
You can get third party, right?
Yeah, you get third party.
Oh, but yeah. I always tried to when I played them. You know, when the N64 was 10 years old, it was always on old controllers, and those never worked well.
Yeah, shoot, maybe I need to try to use a different controller. Anyways, yeah, that one was it. But just like you guys all said, dude, just playing as Star Killer and pulling down an Imperial Star Destroyer was just like, you know, I'm a man. That's it. You know, I like that.
That's the game that I used to bribe my younger cousin into the expanded universe timeline. I just was like, hey, Disney doesn't have a game like this. And then I was like, here. And I pulled up the Wii box. And he played nothing but Force Unleashed and Force Unleashed 2 for the rest of his trip. And now he's read the Thrawn trilogy. And he's reading Republic Commando. And he's playing Republic Commando. And hey, mission accomplished. I'm pretty proud of him.
That's pretty sick. Also, the XXX Tentacion edits of Force Unleashed goes really hard. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know.
I know who XX Tentacion is, and I've heard his music, and I've seen edits of Force Unleashed, but not together.
I bet you have, but you don't know it.
That's crazy.
I think that's the main guy that they make the edits of.
Why does that actually make sense thematically, though? I feel like that would work.
It's because they were both murdered. Unrightfully.
All right. Here's a unique one. All right. What is everyone's favorite fun fact, like a hardcore fan fact about Star Wars? All right, go ahead, Brendan.
Thrawn acquired General Grievous's faceplate after it was blown up in Revenge of the Sith on the black market.
I didn't know that. It was part of his
art gallery, established via, I think, Wizards of the Coast material, if I recall correctly, online material. It's pretty baller.
That is baller.
That is cool. So Grievous's body was taken and then turned into a droid in the one of the games.
Yeah.
Was it Galaxies?
It was Galaxies Shadows of Obi-Wan, maybe? Was it that one?
And then he got it after that, is that? Or did he get a different mask? Because there's plenty of masks.
I'm assuming it's the original mask. At least that's what it says in the original article. Specifically, it says he got it on the Black Market, except it wasn't called the Black Market. It had another cooler name. It was some other kind of market for illegal artifacts.
The
And
dark
he got it
side
through
market.
there, is what it says. The dark side market. Let me find out which market it was. I can't remember at this point.
It was the market where the droids get the grapes or whatever for Padme's cake from that episode of the Clone Wars.
This is a real deep question you've been asking, Brady. I would say that the fact that there's 2 sets of Prophets of the Dark Side running around, that's a good
nuts.
One. That's like to have one set of Prophets of the Dark Side is crazy enough. To have a set of imposters and to have all this backstory with how they're like intertwined with this Grand Admiral or the fight between like 2 Grand Admirals. And this is all backstory. This isn't told in like any novel or comic. This is like extra lore. And I think it was mishandled a little bit, the way that they create some of this, but it's fascinating how they can connect it to something like the Jedi Prince series. I think some of Abel Pena's stuff is nonsense, like the age of like Triclops and that. That's very poorly mismanaged, and I don't like that. But the fact that he comes up with these crazy scenarios with like Hedon being an imposter,
online material, and he just went crazy with them. It's so cool.
Yeah, so it's not great in all of the instances, but with the Prophets of the Dark Side and making that believable, I thought that was super well done. Mainly because I like Jedi Prince.
Same. That's why I found it cool too.
Aaron, are you familiar with the Prophets of the Dark Side?
No.
Okay, so what would be a good description of them, guys? Okay, I think they first showed up in it was a book series in the 90s that followed basically Palpatine's grandson. And so it was actually in this book. So that guy next to Luke in the picture Brendan's holding for the book, that is Ken Palpatine. And it's kind of weird because, they end up using a plot line like that for episode 9.
This is the superior version of that story, though, I will point out. And also, Ken thinks that he's Obi-Wan's descendant. Is kind of what he thinks throughout the series. He's like, oh, I'm a Kenobi. I have this heritage that's hidden from me, and he's theorizing that he's a Kenobi, and then the twist is that he's not a Kenobi. He's a Palpatine.
That's extra weird because I think Daisy Ridley said that she was told that Rey was possibly related to Kenobi.
Right.
Which that's even weird. But yes, so in this series, basically it kind of works as an aftermath of what the galaxy is like in more of a kid cartoony way. Like one of them, there's a rebel base on Dagobah, and it's called Mount Yoda. And then there's these Prophets of the Dark Side, because Vader's gone already. And basically these are guys that worship the dark side, and they kind of work behind the scenes of the stuff. Like this guy right here that Brendan's showing, that is Jabba's father, who wants to have revenge.
What?
Yes, Jabba's dad has dreadlock beard.
And he's actually so cool, though.
This
is amazing.
Some of the wild stuff.
This is cultural appropriation.
This is unbelievable.
He's from the planet Jamaica. It's fine, Scott.
Jamaica.
Here's the one Brady talked about, Mission for Mount Yoda.
And it kind of basically it has its plot line, and it's fun. There's one called the what is it?
Hologram Fun World.
Yeah. Jabba's palace turns into a nursing home for a few months, and then it closes down because
finally
they went bankrupt.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So there's that, and then one of them is called The Glove of Darth Vader.
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
Yeah, And so it's that series. And so these prophets of the dark side, they were led by this guy that was force sensitive and had actual visions and stuff. But then something happens with him, and then they end up turning into just completely crazy people because they've got this following, and
this is an insane synopsis, but it's accurate.
They just have this following, and they make up stuff. They're like, whoever has the glove of Darth Vader will have the powers of Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to
like Vader got all his power from his glove.
Yeah.
You want to explain how they greet each other in the book series?
How they what?
How they greet each other in the book series,
the
villains?
So the villains will greet each other by saying, "Dark greetings."
And so, of course, this was just kind of a cheesy, like, 80s, 90s children's book series on the surface. There's some great ideas in there. And basically what Abel G. Pena did is he made it all make sense, where these goofy guys in robes who are saying dark greetings, they're not the real prophets of the dark side. They're the imposters. They're the fakes. They think they're some big deal, but they're not. The real prophets of the dark side are behind this all. And they're after the book series, they supposedly take most of them out, right, Scott? From memory,
they're trapped they're trapped in a place called the Lost City of the Jedi, which is basically an underground city on Yavin 4. So Yavin 4 normally is a jungle planet. There's like hardly any architecture or buildings there. There's these ancient temples that the Masasi built, but that's basically it. But actually, there's a Jedi refuge that they keep this Jedi prince Ken in there, and he's there with a couple of droids and a pet Muka to keep him company. And the droids assign him homework, so he's a homework processing droid, and it's
the droid's name
wild.
Is Effie, right?
Yeah,
that's
but it's the wildest trip of a story that you could imagine.
We didn't even talk about Princess Leia gets a robot replica made of her that can shoot lasers out of its eyes.
Yes, it's all fantastic. Like, I love every bit of the story.
To marry the big villain of the story, and so she switches place with the one with laser that can shoot lasers. Great twist. Then the first one deals with environmentalism and not poaching whales, because it turns out that the whales are a sentient species, and there's like a cartoonishly evil pirate who's been killing them without realizing that they're sentient on the planet Mon Cal, which is where Akbar is from, which is just wild. And then by the fourth book, they're talking about like they've got like a peace, love, green, save the planet type of guy who's
Badgie.
alien species. What's his name again? It's like a
Badgie.
Badgie, that's right. And he's a Hodin, and he's this green guy who lives in the forest, and he's like, the trees are our friends, and he tells the Empire to not burn it down. And so there's some really wacky stuff in there.
It's really, I mean, it's mainly for kids, but it's quite fun, especially
it's actually really good. I really enjoyed it. It sounds nuts, but I read it in a weekend, and I was just like smiling the whole time. It's a fun read.
That sounds completely insane. What you said about dark greetings. That reminds me of that video where the kid's like, evil grandma be like, bad night, sleep loose. I hope the bed bugs bite your caboose. You know what I'm talking about?
I've not seen that, but that's funny.
So
That's
there's
amazing.
also two people with three eyes. Like they prophesied that the next emperor is going to have three eyes. And there's this imposter that has like a third eye in the front, and then the emperor's real son who has an eye in the back. It turns out Abel Pena says, "Oh, he's not the emperor's real son." I think he is. I think
he is as well. Yeah,
I
think in Re-X, Brady, we're establishing that Triclops' mother is Sly Moore.
That's what I thought it was.
Re-X. Yeah.
Do you know who Sly Moore is, Aaron?
I feel like I do, but I don't remember.
She's the bald girl that stands next to Palpatine whenever he's in the Senate in Episode 3.
Oh.
And she's just kind of a background a little bit.
She's an Umbaran from
Yeah.
the
Kind of like Jinky
was
Minus.
used in TCW.
Yeah.
So she's really obsessed with the experiments of Darth Plagueis.
Mhm.
And somehow she acquires, like, allegedly, it's very vague. Allegedly, she somehow acquires DNA of Palpatine and is pregnant with Tricyclops.
Triclops, yeah.
Triclops is his name because he has
Yeah.
3 eyes.
Makes sense that he's a mutant son because of the odd nature of conception. But the whole idea of that the powerful Sith have 3 eyes seems a little wacky. Like, where's that coming from? That the next Emperor should have 3 eyes. So then later stories in the expanded universe timeline established that actually the most pure blood people who had the dark side and were able to channel it did have 3 eyes. They established this dude, Darth Millennial, who is a 3-eyed mutant and said to be one of the most powerful Sith. And this is the only visual depiction we had of him. But they ran with that idea from Jedi Prince and continued using it. This idea that 3-eyed mutants could channel the dark side better.
It's like a
stronger.
wizard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doctor
Yeah.
Strange. Into Doctor
Yeah.
Strange.
Oh, yeah,
He's
yeah.
a Sith Lord.
Oh shit.
A Sith Lord. Yeah.
All right. I don't know who all. I think we had done just you, Brendan, about the favorite fun fact about Star Wars.
Well, Scott's was
I
probably the
answered.
dark side.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. So
I liked the fact that that the exogors, which are like the giant space slugs that eat astronauts, will basically plant themselves on an asteroid like a plant, and like they have roots, and then eat the asteroid, and also they will jump across asteroids to other ones.
yeah.
Because I think they look for asteroids that just block out light, and then they just jump.
Those are. I like those. Even though, like, in the movie, it's a hand puppet. Like, that,
I like it. I like the way it looks.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was
It's
scared
so
of it as
sick.
a kid. You know,
Oh, it's
it was
so
scary.
Yeah.
stressful when the teeth come down. Like,
Yeah.
in I think Lego Star Wars, you, like, fly through, then you just see it shut. And you're like, but oh man, I love that thing. In Knights of the Old Republic, they talk about how the weaponizing of it. You made a video about it, didn't you?
Oh, I did mention, about how they put hyperdrives on them.
Yeah,
Yeah. That
That's-
was sick.
that's a wild weapon.
Yeah. Yeah, because they put them. Where do they put them? They put them out in a wild space, and they're like, "Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
they're gonna eat the entire galaxy. We gotta get rid of them."
It's like the Mandalorians when they were like trying to take over the galaxy. They were like,
Oh,
"Look,
that's
crap."
what it was.
And the Republic and the Jedi, and they were just like, guys, they were like stressing out. But that's it. I like that. These are good facts. Mine.
Don't be Ahsoka related, or Solonian Cornhorn related, or
Cornhorn.
please, Brady, restrain yourself.
Talk about Ben Quadinaros.
It was that Kylo Ren is named after Ben Quadinaros.
Yo.
No.
Who's that? I only know Kybo Ren from Droids.
What about Bondo Reeves?
So Ben Quadinaros is a better pilot than Kylo Ren.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But they're all better pilots than Luke.
Ben Quadinaros goes on to win. I think 3. I think he's a 3-time winner. Like, actually.
Yeah,
the
wasn't
war.
he?
Yeah.
Him and Sebulba, they were neck and neck, right? It was like a big.
Yeah, he ended up being a rival to Sebulba in the lore afterwards, and he retired with, I think they said, 3 wins at the Boonta and like 2 on Malastare. So he was like a galaxy-renowned champion. So
He's
Good
got
for
the
him.
fastest pod racer in Episode 1 Racer. Like Sebulba's
Yes.
got
Yes.
the bulkiest one, but Ben Quadraneros is the fastest one.
That's right.
I always raced as EBE Endicott. I just like the design of his. There's no
Yeah.
advantage, but
I like how Quadraneros would like bang on the controls of his thing when it doesn't work.
Episode 1, Racer Revenge was fun too. They had some wacky species designs in there. Really
was
interesting cast.
Racer Revenge was more realistic because you didn't blow up there. Well, if you blew up, you died. Like that was the end. You didn't like respawn like in episode 1 Racer, which always bothered me. I was like, man, that doesn't work. Like you can't just come back to life in Star Wars.
This isn't lore accurate.
Right.
Yeah.
If you crashed, you were dead permanently.
Yeah. And why is Watto letting? Never mind.
My favorite fun fact is probably E.T.
Yeah.
The connection.
The Estogians
Yeah.
from Brodo Esogi.
Because I love bringing that up to people. I'd be like, oh yeah.
I cannot believe you know the names of all those places.
Brendan is whenever we talk about comics, so like he always brings to the table the species. He's even working on a list where he's trying to name, find what is it? You have a list of names of species that don't have faces, and you have a list of faces that don't have names to the species, and you're trying to connect them,
combine them, and where it makes sense as well. Like, so example, in a novel, if they're like, there's a reptilian species called the Abnar, and then there's like a reptilian species from a game or a comic that doesn't have a name, and I just like combine it. So I've got a list. I can share it if you want.
Sure.
Just real quickly.
Yeah.
Let's see.
He's our guy for that.
I just find it so fun to try to name some of the unidentified species. So this is what I'm working on. So can you see it?
Oh yeah.
So pink is when I'm joining species together. Blue is for species that have named depictions but no visual depictions. Green means that they have official depictions in the lore with their visual and their name. Pink means that I'm combining a visual with a name. I don't remember what yellow is on the color code. I'll have to go and check after this, but this is all of the A species down to just like here. 90 species that begin with A alone. And then we get to B, and I'm nowhere near close to done. I've not even
I have a question for you, Brennan. Are all of these species that are named here that have a name from a source, are these all in the encyclopedia?
Not all of them are in the encyclopedia.
Is that because the encyclopedia isn't up to date after 2008, or it just
That's correct.
It is missing certain things? So it is up to date up till 2008.
There are a few missed ones that came from like third-party RPG sources that were like loosely connected, like the ones Chris Nelson talks about. So for an example of that, I think where are they? There's an A species that comes from. They're like an angel species. I'll know their name if I see it. Also included here is Supernatural Encounters lore as well. So in parentheses, you'll see some of the renames as well.
I was just curious because I was wondering if they created the encyclopedia based upon the Holocron database information. And it seems like at least what was logged, minus the third-party RPGs like you mentioned, that is the case, that it is, in fact...
Most were in the complete Star Wars encyclopedia that I came across up to 2008. There's a lot that came out afterwards. Fantasy Flight Game Species, some late Wizards of the Coast stuff, but it was mostly up to date. It did not miss many. I mean, it missed a couple, like, for example, the Abu Ghardi from Dark Empire. I don't believe they were in the complete encyclopedia. I could have that wrong, but there were a couple like very minor ones from, like, for example, the Tales comic series. There were some species from there as well that weren't included, but ambiguously canon as well. So
you could argue the Tales stuff was not canon to them, but Dark Empire, I guess that is a miss. So
Yeah. Yeah, not many. This one's from Wildlife of Star Wars, Holiday Special, Design an Alien. So I have here like their planet name as well. And so sometimes for species that don't have an official planet name for where they're from, I've taken the liberty of choosing a planet for them just for the sake of this like naming. This is a part of the re-expanded project. So there's also a couple species in here that are original creations of the re-expanded. So I'm accounting for that lore as well. These are links to all of the resources, and then I have also some of the most well-known members of the species as well, and then some visual notes as well, like dividing into subspecies for when West End Games had visual discrepancies. For example, in the Alien guidebooks to the adventure journals, they look wildly different. So sometimes I've like noted that and said these probably like different subspecies based on how different the visual design is, you know.
So to explain to Aaron real quick, the re-expanded is a group that Brendan and I are a part of that we basically write fan fiction to continue the Star Wars Legends timeline because Disney won't. And so, yeah. And so, like I told you about Tales of the Bounty Hunter.
When you say won't, we would still like them to.
Oh, yes, we would love them to. And we've been like talking about, hey, continue it, guys. We'll give you your money for quite a while.
I've not bought Star Wars stuff of the new timeline. I will only buy it if they start making Legend stories again.
I was just going to say, based on what you showed us with that Alien project, it's too bad that the expanded universe is off limits, because what you have right there is the basis for a new essential guide, essentially. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of research put into that. So all that's done already. They just need to pay you for your work. And
I would shoot them an email. I would shoot them an email for sure.
That's easy money. Maybe have somebody do some drawings. I mean, the Deviant art, people have already done drawings for these characters. So that's done as well. It's like all this work is already done. They just have to agree to publish it.
There's like 20 species that were never visually depicted officially that a Deviant artist made visual depictions for them. So in that case, I've taken that and kept it consistent and noted that in the file. My dream with the project is eventually to commission out of my own pocket or to fundraise an artist to make a new visual depiction for all of the species with consistent art, and especially art for the ones that were never visually depicted. I'd love to do that eventually as a personal project of mine. That might take decades of employment before I could afford that. Certainly won't be able to do it in these college years. But maybe eventually one day. I'd love to finance a guide and then have it printable via Lulu. I think that it would be great. You know,
I was just really gonna say, put the description of what the alien looks like and just have AI do it.
You could do that. Yeah. You'd probably get some inconsistent results, but I suppose you could.
I mean, just keep doing it until you get the result you like, I guess.
Yeah. There's some people in our community who are pretty talented with that. Like Brady's Waru Crystal Star Essential Legends collection cover.
So Disney really likes re-releasing Legends. They because there's money there, and so we sometimes we'll do reviews of some of their re-releases. And some of the stuff, it looks like they have AI designing their art. And so I thought, hey, this would be funny to literally just do that. And so I'd remake some of the book covers to I throw it in AI and be like, what the heck is that? But
which is probably what Del Rey does to some extent.
Especially when people pointed out that for Republic Commando, one of the Republic Commando novels, which ties into the video game, I think which one is it? It's a Hard Contact. No, it's 000. For 000, it's definitely AI art because on the cover is a First Order Stormtrooper. Obviously, the First Order is not a part of the Legends Expanded Universe timeline. They just flat out don't exist. So the fact that on the cover, in the background, you can see First Order Stormtroopers, that doesn't even make sense for the Clone Wars time period anyways. never mind the wrong universe. So it's very clear that they're just spitting some Star Wars prompts into an AI and throwing it out there. It's utterly bizarre. It's so weird.
So I'm in this Discord group it's a Star Wars Decipher CCG group, but on the side they have a channel for discussing Star Wars books. So someone was posting the Shadows of the Empire Essential Legends cover that you have here, and someone saying it has the same vibe as this, which is the Blue Crush movie scene. I guess the colors are similar or what, but it's like it's funny what people think of this. It's obviously it's AI. Like they've used some like technological enhancements. Maybe some of it is drawn originally, but you could just tell based on the background and how the filters are that it's digitized.
Yeah, it's a shame. I wish they'd put some work into it.
They released the audiobook for it, which I'd really like. I always like reading the audiobooks. It's just easier to get done.
Did you guys know that Shadows of the Empire, the Hildebrandt brothers had artwork that they did for trading cards?
Yes.
And some of it's pretty good. Like there's a Hodin. I forget the character that's a Hodin in Shadows of the Empire, but I think it might be Black Sun. I guess he meets with he meets with Leia prior to them meeting Arvo, I think. But there's a picture of him. He kind of looks like Plato, like he's like pointing to the sky. Just it's kind of a Renaissance art style that looks really good.
The Hildebrandt brothers did all those art pieces of Leia like confronting Xizor as well, right?
Yeah, there's a weird one of her feet.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
it's like there's too much detail there. I don't know what you're saying.
There's some depictions of Guri that are kind of crazy. Aaron, have you read Shadows of the Empire? The novel?
Brady, you're just gonna leave that off? There's some depictions of Guri that are
what the
kind of crazy.
Sorry, I'm setting it up for Aaron so he doesn't get lost. So there's a novel, a comic book that go along with the video game, and it's kind of a multimedia project for it. And so in the book, it follows the main original trilogy characters, where in the video game it follows Dash Rendar, and then in the comics it kind of follows the main characters, and then also Boba Fett. And so you kind of have to watch and play and read all of those things in order to get the full story. And so in the book, and in some of the artwork. Well, actually, do you know who Prince Xizor is? So he's the main villain in the Shadows of the Empire. He's basically Space Diddy.
He throws the Diddy parties. Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Yo,
why do you have to call him Space Diddy? That's an insult to Xizor. I think Xizor did nothing wrong.
Brady has that trademarked because he did a video on that.
Yeah.
Basically, his species has this ability to release pheromones out of their body to make the opposite sex attracted to them, and
of all species.
Of all species, yes. That makes them want to mate with him. And
humans are particularly susceptible as well. Yeah. There was a throwaway line about how they're weak-minded or whatever, which is an insult on all of us. But also in the Republic comics, yeah, for sure. Also in the Republic comics, we saw a female Faline using it on Quinlan Vos. So it works on males as well if the Faline is female.
It was also
he could only do it on women, but a female Faline could do it on men.
It was also being used in Scoundrels as well to sneak into that top secret place with the treasure, the loot.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Was it used in the sequel to Shadows of the Empire? evolutions?
No,
I don't
because
think
I,
so.
I don't think Savan has it. I think it's only feline males have the ability. I don't think it's female.
Gotcha.
Well, the females can use it on the males according to the Republic comics, but that was a quick throwaway. So I don't. Yeah.
Or they got it wrong.
Ostrander could have gotten it wrong. Yeah.
All right. Who is everyone's favorite Star Wars character? We'll start from the movies. Just make it, if that makes it easier or harder, I don't know.
Which movie? All the movies?
All the movies.
Ben Quadinaros.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm tempted to pick somebody obscure like that, or maybe someone, maybe Teak from the Ewok movies.
Ooh. Okay, from
Sindel Tawani
the
for
six
the win,
movies.
or her brother's the original Mace.
gotta go with Jinky Minus.
Have you, Aaron, have you seen the Ewok movies?
No,
Okay,
I have so much to catch up on.
There's only 2 movies. They were made as TV movies in the 80s. So, like, Return of the Jedi came out in 83. And in 84, the first Ewok movie came out. And in 85, the second one came out. And it was in like other countries, they were released in the theater. And so it was almost like the continuation of Star Wars. And it follows the Ewoks from Return of the Jedi, along with more. There's a family that shipwrecks on Endor. And so you have the humans. All right. Brendan. Brendan had to go.
Yeah, his laptop was dying. I was delayed for a little bit. Am I coming through okay?
Yeah, you are.
Okay.
But anyway, there's some humans that crash land on Endor, and there's some interesting stuff with it. More monsters. The Gorax is from that movie.
Okay.
Which that's also another awesome monster.
Mm-hmm.
But
the Gorax is sick. I like Gorax.
Mm-hmm. But what does anyone have a favorite main movies, episodic movies character?
Maybe
like,
Dooku.
Ooh, yeah.
I really like him a lot. I like the actor a lot, and then I also just everything about Dooku was really cool. Like how conflicted he was, how he was deceived. Yeah.
Have you do you know about the Revenge of the Sith novelization about how they depict Dooku in it?
No, I think you told me a little bit about it actually.
So he's told before, or the fun thing about the Clone Wars novels is one of them is a Yoda book, and it deals with Yoda and Dooku, and they kind of are communicating during the Clone Wars. And so you get to see some of the side of Dooku. But then in the Revenge of the Sith novelization, basically he thinks that he will be taken as prisoner, and then Palpatine will take over the galaxy, and then he will be freed. So that was the plan that was explained to him. We know that doesn't happen. And basically you get what's going on in Dooku's head while he's fighting Anakin, before he fights Anakin, and then while Anakin's holding the blades and Palpatine says, "Kill him." And it just adds so much more to his character.
Yeah.
Like if you like him from the movies and the shows and stuff, that just makes it. I'm
gonna have to listen to that. That's crazy.
I think they've got the complete audio book, and it's really good production. They've got the music in there. It's good. But
I will listen to that.
Scott, what do you got?
Favorite character? Dooku's a good choice. I'd probably say one of the bounty hunters. I mean, it's kind of hard to justify that because they don't really have a backstory. I mean, Dooku's backstory is tremendous. Like, especially if you read things like Yoda Dark Rendezvous, where it gets into his head a little bit about, why he turned to the dark side and his history and losing his, apprentice Qui-Gon Jinn and what that did and how that affected him, and how Yoda almost brought him back to the light side in that novel, which is, I mean, you have to experience it yourself to get the benefit from it. But I'd probably say like IG-88.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I like that.
I like
That's good.
IG-88.
I might have to say I really like Luke and Anakin, but mainly Luke, because I mean, just what's set up in the films, the fact that he was basically raised to be a weapon to kill Vader, and he turns from that. He basically takes the old ways of the Jedi and says, "You're wrong. I'm going to do it my way." And then he does it the more Jedi way than what the actual Jedi were telling him, which is crazy. Like he could have said, he said to the Emperor, he stood up to him and said, "No, I am a Jedi. This is what Jedi are supposed to do." Even though a little bit earlier, Obi-Wan was saying, "You have to kill him." Yoda said, "You have to defeat him. You have to kill him. You got to be ready for that." And so he learned how to be a Jedi, while the actual Jedi were, already corrupted by their, they had their whole world torn apart. And so I think that matched with Anakin. And then I like how it's carried on then into the expanded universe Legends story. And it's just amplified there. And that's mainly a reason why I really don't like the anything with Luke and the new Star Wars stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You also have Luke going after Vader because he's told initially that Vader killed his father. So it's like a revenge angle. And then I like his line in Return of the Jedi, even though maybe some would say it's not well delivered. He says, "My father is truly dead," after he tries to at least convince him to come back. And then he knows he needs to go after Vader, because he, in effect, killed his father. Like, he's no longer his father. He's someone else.
That's my favorite, maybe one of my favorite scenes. The bridge scene with Vader and Luke.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is. It's just, that's...
Yeah, you get a confident Luke in a way he's not depicted as confident earlier on. Like, that's the end of his arc. He's a Jedi Knight by that point.
Which Return of the Jedi is not, which it can be taken multiple ways, but I really like seeing it as the return of Anakin. That's the big,
I can see that.
The return of Anakin, the Jedi of Anakin, and without Luke, there isn't that, and without that scene, there isn't that, because that's where he's already has that. I want to, take over the galaxy. I want to take over the galaxy. I want to do it with my son and make things the way I want them to be.
He also gets back on his feet after, he gets defeated. He gets his butt kicked in Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
But he just gets right back up, goes and rescues Han, and then does what he has to do to confront Vader again.
Right.
So,
but Luke's all there.
Mm-hmm.
My next question: your favorite scene from the movies?
I like the episode 3 opera scene. So well delivered. Everything's great. Everything's great about it. Acting, delivery, story, dialogue. It's perfect.
Yeah, I like that a lot too.
Pelagus.
I think a lot about the scene where Obi-Wan goes to Camino and fights Jango Fett a lot. I think about that a lot.
I used to only play that part, or like I would watch part of the movie, or whenever I'd watch episode 2 as a kid, I'd skip to that part. Like whenever he's Dexter's diner.
Dexter Jetster.
Yeah, he'd go in there, and then from there on, I'm like, oh, that's what I'm watching.
All right, that's all we got to see.
And I'd have to go do something, and then I'd start over there, and then I'm like, boom, action sequence, boom, Battle of Geonosis.
I think I'm gonna have to hop off here in a little bit.
All right. Well, we can go ahead and end this, but thank you everyone for watching. Thank you guys for hopping on and just chatting. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Where can everyone find you, and what are y'all doing? Anything you want to promote?
Shoot. Thank you for having me. My name, you could find me at Psychopoly on everything.
You can check me out on the EUA back machine. I think there was only 2 episodes I missed, but we have 13, 14 episodes we've done so far where we're going chronological release order, basically, of all the Star Wars content. You can find that on Magneto Alex's YouTube channel. And there's a bunch of us there. Have a great time. It's very interactive, so be sure to check that out. Also, congrats to Brady on 400 subscribers.
Oh, thanks.
Yo, congrats.
Thank you. But also check out the Comlink Chatter podcast.
Yes.
We should have some episodes coming out soon. We have a big catalog of other episodes. If anyone's watching, and you can check it out. We mainly cover the comic books. Sometimes we'll talk about different topics. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Thanks, Brady.
Yeah.